Hey there. Yeah, I haven't told the story yet. I was rendering, heavy rendering load, but everything fine, you know, CPU limited itself to not exceed maximum temperature, so everything, as I've also seen it with other YouTube videos, other people, there were some temperature spikes above maximum, but others got that too, and that seems to be within tolerance. Anyway, I was rendering and suddenly the PC shut down. And as it turns out, there was a short circuit because there are two, like you have this big connector here, this big connector, and then you have two ATX up here, here and here. And if I connected one or both of them, the power supply would, you would hear a click. It would apparently detect a short circuit and engage a circuit breaker. So yeah, so in the ATX 12 volts line, somewhere in that area is a short circuit. So that's a severe hardware defect, and I don't know whether it's the CPU or the mainboard, and I contacted AMD support. Response time was good, but they weren't that helpful really. They said I should return it directly to the CPU. Asrock support was totally unhelpful. I gave them so many details, and their response was basically contact your dealer if you can. So nothing to expect there. So I opted for talking to Amazon and returning both CPU and mainboard. And then it's the unhelpful manufacturer's problem to figure out whether one or both is defect, because I didn't want to experiment. Like if I assume it's a CPU and I put another CPU in here and it turns out it is the mainboard that has a defect and it damages the brand new CPU again, that's not something I want to do. This is annoying as hell already. So I will replace the mainboard and the CPU. I mean, the drawback is that I will probably not know which one it is, whether I did something wrong, but seriously, you can't. You know, the CPU manages itself, and there is nothing that ran out of the ordinary. The CPU was, I didn't do any overclocking adventures or stuff. It just died after 1 month, and that is outrageous. So I will remove the cooling block here, and then I can take a look at the thermal paste. Then I will probably do full surface again, but take a little more care about that. And let's see, let's first get this block loosened here. And it's a bit interesting, I guess, but would really have preferred not to having to do this. You know, the bad feeling that lingers. It's annoying, you know, and by something so expensive and it just breaks down. Oh, and they're cleaning and reapplying. Ugh, annoying. Well, let's see. No, screw is dirty now. A little mess here. Oh, this didn't come loose. The others loosened with... Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so... Maybe I should... Let me see. Yeah, so there is a thin layer and the rest is there. So that looks very good, and thermal paste only has to bridge the micro unevenness. So in the middle, that's there. Yeah, so this looks very good actually. Yeah, and now I will talk later, and then not much more to say now. I don't know whether something here overheated, but no, it would shut down then. There's a piece of plastic in here. It's not so good. Yeah, I really don't know what it could have been, but yeah, I think I'll see. No idea what it was. Yeah, then I'll probably continue with a summary. Now I gotta clean this up, remove this, new mainboard in, the whole thing. I mean, I got most of it planned, but I'm kind of annoyed about I got the cables, everything so nicely, and now I have to redo all that mostly. And this happened on the Friday before Easter holidays. It was fun. And then Amazon, they were very helpful, but still the one guy there screwed up my order, and even though I explained everything in detail, only got my mainboard, and then I saw mainboard has been shipped and I had to contact them again, and so it was yet another day delay before I got my CPU. Yeah, this is really not motivating stuff. Yeah, this is all just ugly stuff. It's not that interesting. Maybe I'll probably video when I got the new CPU and then applying the thermal paste that you see how you can do it. As I said in the previous video, I was thinking about doing 2 arrows so that it covers all the dies and doesn't create air compartments. But the thing with that is, if you make a line or dots and squeeze it down, you never know how much total is there. Is it enough? Is it too much? Where when you coat it fully and do it nicely like this, and of course it looked cleaner before I did this, then you know exactly how much is on there, and you want ideally the least amount that is one consistent surface, you know, that you're covering all unevenness. You don't need more. If you have a thicker layer, it will only be detrimental. Yeah, then see you when I'm applying the new stuff on the new CPU. See you then. So I removed the mainboard and looked over it briefly and cannot find anything on the backside that would look like a short circuit or something. Only thing I found is here around the hot parts that the coating looks a bit dull compared to the somewhat shinier. But with those temperatures, that is to be expected. Some screws have plastic washers under them, some don't. But all in all, checked everything. Nothing looks like on the surface short circuit. If the board has a short circuit, I would assume it is internally between the layers or something. Yeah, so nothing that strikes the eye here. And on goes the journey. See you in a moment. Okay, so the old CPU looked fine too. Nothing striking my attention on the backside. So new mainboard, new CPU installed. The weird coating on the back that I mentioned earlier, the new one has that too. There's even something that looks a bit oily in some areas. That's probably from production. So now we are gonna apply Master Gel Maker. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, manual focus, good. Master Gel Maker, Cooler Master, 11 watts per meter Kelvin, I think it is. Yeah, and with the spatula, and then I will do razor blade probably. I wish I had one that goes all the way, but I'll see what I can do. I put more effort into it than last time. Okay, let's begin. And this will be mostly, see that I'm not with my noggin in the way, no. And I'll do it mostly silently, just that you see how it
do it. Okay, let's put down a line. Suck back into the tube. Close this for a moment so that I don't know, accidentally make a mess. And then, yeah, do I even, okay, sharp side. Yeah, let's do the spatula first. It's less risk for making a mess, I guess. So gotta be careful not to touch the CPU, so that no fat gets on there. So first I get this out of the way here. So that there's only a minimum here on the edge. So I just do it like this. It's probably good to leave a minimum border here because this stuff gets squeezed out a tiny bit anyway. And then see how far you can come with this stuff. And this is probably not quite halfway, but yeah, there's still a lot on the border. I don't want stuff to stay there. And as long as it is one coating, it is good. These things I will of course not leave in there. Okay, so I'll probably begin here so that I'm not painting over air bubbles or something. Okay, so a little bit more than last time. I can still do the rest a little bit if I need to. Then, so. Okay. Good pressure so that when I'm moving over this here, let's remove this for a moment here, it's in the way. You're pressing out any possible air bubbles that are in here. And I keep applying pressure because I want to see, dirtied myself already a little bit. So I want to see whether this is enough. See, I keep going over this and there's actually, although it's thinning out a little bit up there. The thing is, again, this is all micro, on a micro level. So even if there's a tiny air bubble in there, it's not relevant anyway, surface area wise, but you can always, the heat will go around it. If the air bubble does not go all the way from the bottom to the top, it will just do a little bend and that's it. Okay, I'll do a little angle here now. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Again, this is almost not worth mentioning, that little border there. I better leave it. Okay, the spatula cloth so I'm not making a mess here. And now my razor blade. Gotta reposition myself. Yeah. Okay. Is this even sharp? Let's see whether I can improve this a little bit. Okay, I have to do. I'm probably in the gap there, but no problem. And now I will clean the razor blade again, because if I can remove more of this paste without leaving holes, that's even better. Thinner layer. This is probably not so good here. These trails in there. Okay, I gotta do it with less pressure now to get an even surface. So now I'll probably do the 2-finger technique. Ooh, gotta careful. Pressure on the left side and on the right side and with low pressure so that this is evenly. This. See, there's still razor blade is more precise. There's still material. Paste removed. Gotta see how I can get these. Probably do very gentle now. But again, with my cooler that I have here, this is all no drama, and you've seen when removing the other one. Yeah, they're a little bit, let's see. Maybe you can. Yeah, I mean, with the spatula that Cooler Master recommends from this for application, you don't get it any better anyway. And the tests on the internet between different modes of application showed so tiny differences that this is totally uncritical. Worst case scenario, this is no better than putting some blobs on there, or my arrow technique. But yeah, okay, first thing, get the resin. Yeah, so that's, I'll show you how I put the cooler down. So the cooler, yeah, I thought about this first. Yeah, I probably should have tested this because the spacing can be a bit odd here, but you just gotta squeeze it down there. Okay, let's see. Okay, probably switch to automatic focus again. Okay, gotta clean my fingers, put everything away here. Always keep enough cloth so that you don't make a mess. Okay, so if I'm lucky, this will fit right away. Make sure this is maybe you hear this noise. This means those are all the gaps, all the from polishing. Quite crude. And there's the stuff coming off. Personally, yeah, the stuff that is still in there can stay there if it wants to. This is probably coming out of the screw holes here. Yeah, clean and with pressure is actually quite good. Okay, so no, don't want this to get all dusty here. Let's see. Fits, and I will yeah, this is, I have to just put it down like this. This is just screwing down now. Yeah, so that was that. And I also checked to make sure, just because I'm not trusting anything here, that the CPU heat spreader is actually higher than the bracket, than the mainboard bracket here. So yeah, and one thing I need to do too with this thing, fat prints off. Not too much pressure, probably should have done this after screwing it tight, but it's sitting on there. It's really soothing feeling to have a full contact plate here. What is this stuff here? There's some... Don't want that on there. Okay. And then I'll just screw this in and we'll be back either in a new video. This is probably already long enough. Okay, cross over cross. And then we'll see, and hopefully this works better now, because I have no clue. There must have been a material defect or something, because the 68 degrees Celsius or 95, their weird special number, is maximum that the CPU controls itself. And people have been doing manual overclock, like insane manual overclocks, and went far beyond the 68. So even if there's a brief spike, I mean, that's all AMD Precision Boost and XFR that's deciding its own temperature. So that's that. So it cannot be the missing power saving in Windows 7 that's underclocking, because it only reduces temperature and idle. And you know, people are running this thing insanely overclocked, and say it's fine. And the cooler too, I mean, I'm running these at 50% the fans and the pump at 100% at full load. So yeah, this thing is spec'd for heavy overclocking if you run it at 100%. And this is escaping upwards, and there's no grid here, and I'm lifting the top of the case, so cooling is fine. Yeah. Okay, so then I will end the video probably here, or add the other reports to it. We'll see. Then see you later. Bye.